Vic, what do you think a drone's pilot's rights are? So if you're going to write the Bill of Rights for a drone pilot, what are some items you'd have to put on there?
Wow.
CJ, cut this afterwards.
Right.
This is going to be
like
good.
Wow. I wish I had that
question.
one fed to me about a day ago.
Yeah, we did not give him any prep for this.
I think the biggest thing I'd love to see is the Department of Transportation Inspector General consider us, I don't want to say on the same level as like a 747 pilot or whatever, but give us the same protections that we have already given to us, but enforce those on things like interfering with us when we're trying to fly, shooting down, shooting at, things like that. I think, number one, Bill of Rights number one is give us the protection we deserve. Because we do deserve it. If somebody shoots us down or we crash, are we going to kill 375 people behind us? No, we're not. So there is that aspect of it. But it's a matter of time. If something doesn't happen, someone's going to get hurt or worse at this point, whether it's a drone pilot or it's somebody assaulting a drone pilot. Because I know a number of them who carry both open and concealed now because of the stories we hear. I carry bear gel. That's legal here in Colorado. So I carry, a big old tube of bear gel on my belt if I feel the need to. Give us a little more. Let's see. Number 2, Bill of Rights. Let's go with pure access to the NAS. We're restricted to 400 feet, which for 90% of the time is fine. We need to be higher at times. Bill of Rights number 3, let's physically separate helicopters. We don't have to worry about the fixed wing guys. They're usually at 500 feet or more, usually 1,000 actually for most of the flights where it take place. But helicopters come in low, and so let's get them up there. Okay. Let's give them that 1,000-foot floor as well. I think that'll help a lot because helicopters scare me, and it's my responsibility as a drone pilot to avoid them. I totally understand that. But let's give us a little bit more ceiling and cut the floor out from the manned crowd. They're not going to like to hear that.
No,
Sorry.
they are not.
But we're going to feel bad if something happens. We are, and let's just we have to work together. We have to share the airspace. Bill of Rights number 4. What could that be? That could be what? That could be a DJI related Bill of Rights. Let's go there.
Why not?
DJI has their qualified entities program, their QEP for first responders and things like that, where they unlock drones. Give it to us. Let us have it. Figure out some way to qualify the 107 pilots so we can do things like fly 2 miles off the end of a runway in a 150-foot square without having to go through an unlock, things like that. So. What else? I can't think of anything else right off. You should have let me know this a little sooner.
On the first point that you mentioned, what do you think about drone pilot safety and dealing with other people trying to shoot you down, so that kind of thing? What do you think about the remote ID proposal to have the operator's location broadcast in addition to the drone?
You obviously didn't read my article on that. No, I'm just kidding.
Not yet.
No, that's fine.
Oh, that's a good one. That's historical. I would read it.
If part of our ID comes out and says, okay, the USS or whoever, or if you've got an app on your phone that shows you where the drone pilot is, you will have virtually nil as far as cooperation from the drone pilots. They're not going to do it because safety is involved, and the FAA understands that. If you go back and read, as long as we're on remote ID, I won't go too deep into this, but if you go back and you read remote ID, you'll see where different agencies pulled out different parts and rewrote it because there's areas that fight with each other wording wise. And all those types of things are from the security agencies. FAA was ready to go with it, 14 months before, and then they pulled it last minute because of the security agency concerns.
Right.
And part of that was we want to know where every pilot's standing and every drone is in the air at all times, real time. So the FAA said, well, that's not really possible. And they said, we don't care. And so that was the gist of a lot of the comments out there. But if they don't have compliance, they don't have remote ID. So I think they understand that. It is going to be a huge safety issue. And if it's required, you're not going to get compliance. And you're going to start seeing a huge increase in incidents.
Yeah, compliance is a huge deal, right? And some people feel that there's probably a lot of non-Part 107 operations going on now under the some feel as in like we pretty realistically know there are, and you know, the Part 107 isn't even that much of a barrier. It's just a lack of enforcement. You know, we've joked on this podcast before that it's easier to get a massage license or harder to get a massage license in LA than it is to get a Part 107.
Okay. I like that.
No, that's actual fact.
I have no doubt it's actual fact.
So look into that. But you know, I think if we're going to move forward, pilots have to feel safe. And I really questioned the idea. This was like a bone to the public that you would know where the operator is.
Right.
And I think it has the reverse effect. It just empowers a public that doesn't understand the technology to harm the operator. And it ultimately doesn't make them feel any safer when, if that information is given to a law enforcement agency or some type of central service where they could check in, that's a much safer kind of operation where, you know, the public is calling out and say, hey, we've seen a drone flying over our baseball field during our Pee Wee games. Who was that? You know, not who was that, what was that is what they could ask. Oh, well, that person was surveying, you know, this drainage sump over to the side of the field. Don't worry about it. Or on the opposite end, if it was a threat, no, we don't know who that is. Now we're going to check that airspace for that person. And that's a perfectly a much better solution than I think what was put into.
Oh, huge.
But I won't make public statements like that in writing.
I will.
You won't see that comment in the Remote ID stuff. But I'll safely say it here on the podcast, I think.